Okay, so we're going to do a little story time. So Maria lives in Memphis, Tennessee, where it will be 100 degrees at like 8 a.m. And then I will get random, for no reason, thunderstorms for 5 minutes that will knock her completely off the internet because she lives in a building that was born, like basically built in 1923. So I apologize. That is normally what happens. I even have a Wi-Fi extender in here, and for the most part, as long as it's not storming, I never get knocked off. But it could happen at any time. I could be sitting here talking right now, and the lights could go out. That's really hard when you stream. But thank you guys for understanding. I know it's difficult when you're in the middle of a conversation asking questions and then the person that you're watching just kind of disappears. I do apologize, and I don't know what was happening when it knocked out and then it reconnected, and then I was getting so much feedback with my own voice that I just gave up. So but to finish out the live stream, I really think, because I know we were talking about CW, we were talking about, the different zombie pandemic COVID, possibilities that a lot of creative people could take, which I think would be awesome. Actually, if I was a director right now, I think I have a lot of TV shows and movies and things like that were wrapped around 2020, because 2020 is an interesting year. It's the one time in life that, at least recently, that everybody could actually, around the world, could actually relate to, because COVID was a global pandemic, or is a global pandemic. So I kind of feel like that, in a sense, kind of brings the audience to you. I really wish that they would, quite frankly, release all of these movies digitally. I do think that they're missing out on potentially not only revenue, but the chance of being able to get a sequel to a movie. So many really good movies never get sequels because the money technically is not there. Well, we're all at home now. So if you release a movie right now, like, just think about it. Just think if New Mutants got released right now. How much money do you think that they would, make to have people rent or stream it, on a platform, on various platforms? There's no way they wouldn't greenlight a sequel, because they would make a lot of money, because we can't go to the movies. We have nothing else to do. This is like a gold mine, in a sense, for movies, and people are not taking advantage of it. Like Bloodshot, I thought was really well done, and I think that it really helped them probably releasing it digitally, because I don't know how that would have done in theaters, because, the audience can be a little, wishy-washy a little bit in terms of what they like and what they don't, which is their right, but a lot of really good movies never get a sequel because of that. Not because the movie's bad, it's just because people weren't showing up to the theaters. So, yeah, New Mutants released, absolutely. Wonder Woman, I think Wonder Woman would clean house if they released it. That's just me being real. I think if Wonder Woman came out, 1984, came out digitally, had a premiere date, they could even do like a Zoom type movie premiere with the actors, it would clean house. I really think that would be a thing. I don't know why they haven't tried that. I don't know what's holding them back. I mean, is there something about the traditional theaters that they just need you to be at it? I don't know. But I just really feel like they're missing out on a really golden opportunity in 2020 to not release these movies, because honestly, it's probably the only way we're going to be able to see them, because I don't think COVID's going to be dying anytime soon. So I really doubt, I highly, highly doubt that New Mutants is going to come out in August in the theaters. If they release New Mutants in the theaters and we are still where we're at in COVID, then that actually just tells me a lot more about this country that I'm already not happy about. So my personal opinion, but I really would love, love, love to see it. In the meantime, though, we do have Umbrella Academy season 2 coming, and I'm extremely excited about that. So, hi, Ito. Sorry my last live stream died, Ito. I don't know if you saw it, but it bumped me out, so this is part 2. But I really, really think Umbrella Academy season 2 is going to be very interesting. I know some of it is playing off the comic, some of it is not. Vanya was shot in the head at the end in the comics. You know, basically that's how they thwarted the apocalypse. So I don't know what they're doing with Vanya in this. I saw Ellen Page or Vanya in the trailer. I just did a review on it, but I don't actually know what her role is. She was driving and she was sitting on the couch and she was doing a little dance, and that's pretty much all we got. So I'm curious to know what they're going to do with her. But yeah, Umbrella Academy season 2 looks really good. Yito, I think I actually almost missed this second one. I'm sorry, Yito. Yeah, I know a lot of people probably aren't seeing it. For some reason, Thunder knocked me out, like literally completely knocked me out. And then my internet just went dead, and then it tried to log itself back in, and it created a feedback loop, so I had to end it instead of just carrying on from that one. But it's cool because so far there's no more thunder. I don't know what's happening where I live. It's crazy. It is 101 degrees outside. It was 91 degrees at 8 a.m. So this could be tornadic weather. We might be in line to be getting a tornado because I do live in the Bluff. So Bluff City is what we call it, in Tornado Alley. So it's possible. I hope not, though. Yeah, so I did talk about your favorite character, Yito. I talked about Silk, or one of your favorite characters, potentially being in Spider-Verse 2, or Into the Spider-Verse 2, because Phil Lord and Chris Miller were on Twitter and Instagram. I think it was Twitter. Basically hinting now, not confirmed, that they need Silk in their lives. So that means to me that she may be the newest addition. There probably are a few more additions, but one of the newest additions to Into the Spider-Verse 2, which makes me excited. So I'm actually really happy to see if Cindy Moon makes it Into the Spider-Verse 2. I'm going to be very happy. But yeah. And some of the other things we talked about in the other ones, if you have missed it, we talked about Green Arrow and Stargirl. Are they going to have Oliver Queen? An aged Oliver Queen would be awesome, because they did show in episode 9 of Stargirl, 7 Soldiers of Victory's photo, and Green Lantern and Green Arrow was in it. So there's a good chance we might have Oliver Queen and maybe a Green Lantern, honestly. She is my favorite character, almost kind of tying with Venom. Yep. And who knows? Maybe we'll have Venom into the Spider-Verse too. You never know. I mean, they seem to be doing their own thing. So she better be the newest addition, in my opinion. I didn't really like Penny Moon. Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse. I didn't mind Into the Spider-Verse. I do agree with you. I think Cindy would up the game, because you wanna have something that ups the game. So Into the Spider-Verse was good to me. I think adding Cindy Moon and a few other of my choice characters would add it. I don't want them to just put Jessica in and not put anybody else in. I definitely want Cindy Moon, and I want her to have a substantial role. I think that would be really cool. But yes, I am super excited for that. I keep mentioning the Star Trek Lower Decks. And I said this in the other stream. A lot of people are not happy that it kind of makes them think about, shows like American Dad and Family Guy, and it's a Star Trek property. But I guess I'm okay with it for the most part, because it is about what I consider the red shirts, even though they're the lower deck officers. I mean, they're the ones that are expendable. So I don't really have a problem with it. But I did see on a lot of the forums, especially some of the hardcore Trekkies, they are not happy with the direction of Star Trek Lower Decks. But I am not happy over the fact that Star Trek Discovery Season 3 is taking so flippin' long to premiere. Because I want to see what is happening. Because Season 2, they got pushed in way, way forward into the future. So I want to know what happens next for Michael and crew of Discovery. So I just want to know. I don't really have a negative opinion about Discovery. I know a lot of hardcore Star Trek people are not happy with that series. I just look at it as another iteration, because I really wasn't a fan of Star Trek Enterprise, and some people really liked it, and some people didn't like. I don't know how you don't like DS9, but people were not fans of DS9, and I love Star Trek DS9. So I mean, it just really depends on what you like. So. But Discovery is a new retelling, and at least we have more Star Trek on TV, since I don't think we're getting the movies at all, which is sad, because I actually liked the reboot movies and the cast. But, we take what we get. So Lower Decks is just a parody. It's just like the Orville. Well, correction, I think the Orville will still be better. I love the Orville. But it is what it is. It is their telling, it's their comedy, it's their animated version of what happens with the lower deck that you never get to see spotlighted. And it does look a lot, it's very crude and it's very goofy, but it is what it is. Hi, Nicholas, welcome back. I'm so sorry about the, I'd love to say it won't happen again, but it might. I mean, if I get a random thunder thing, I think my whole house might fly away. Um, but I'm glad you found me again. I know whenever I start another stream, it's hard. So sometimes people don't get the alerts. So I'm glad you made it back in. But yeah, we're just talking about all the stuff we were talking about in the other stream. Penny Bargain, but I kind of feel like she was just a placeholder for an Asian spider. I agree with that too. I do. There's a lot of placeholder Asian characters. I cannot remember her name, but in Spider-Man, Flash was dating an Asian girl. And I swear she was just in there just to say that they had diversity. It's like when Glory showed up as one of the Peter Parker's friend's girlfriend. And she actually had more of a role, but back in those days, that was a big deal. But I really liked Glory and Spider-Man. Star Trek Discovery is awesome. The only Star Trek I don't mess with is the OG series and Enterprise. Never watched either, not for me. I don't mind OG. As a matter of fact, only because it was groundbreaking. Because, like, having Nicole Nichols on there was like that back in those days was a thing. Like, they had to respect her. And as a black woman in the 60s, that is a big deal. So I do like this original Star Trek. And quite frankly, we wouldn't have the other ones without it. But I do agree with Enterprise. Enterprise, I don't know what it was, but it did not seem like... You know what it reminded me of? Enterprise reminded me of this show called Star Quest DSV. Basically, which started off a great show. It basically was a huge, like, weaponized, I'm just going to call it submarine, or underwater ship that would go back between outposts, and they would basically, there's just a lot of things that they would do that were kind of Star Trek related, but under the water. That is what Enterprise reminds me of. I don't know why, but it does. So yeah, I think that's probably why. It's almost like it was a separate thing. And I understand that Enterprise is supposed to be a prequel to the OG series, but it just reminded me of Star Quest DSV. So I don't know. I think Flash's girlfriend was Vietnamese at the time. Probably. I just remember her being like that token character that just kind of came obscurely out of nowhere for no reason and had no real reason to be there. And I felt bad because there's so much you can do with characters, even small characters that are in there for like a millisecond can potentially lead to bigger things later. So that was a missed opportunity, I guess. So like when Iceman dated Opal in the 80s and 90s, Japanese, yes. And there's another character, and I swear I cannot think of her name, but there's another, she was Chinese, and she wasn't Chinese American, she was Chinese, and she was in Marvel, and what was she in? It's gonna come to me, but I just remember her, like she had a small role investigating a murder, and with one of the characters, and it's gonna come to me. And then they made out, and then she was gone, and it was like, okay, I guess that was over. It's like, what is happening? Let's see. I used to watch Star Quest because of the cute lead. Laugh out, he was everyone's in the night. Oh, Jonathan is it Landis? Jonathan Landis. I think that's who it was. Unfortunately, the one that actually killed himself, which I felt so bad about. Yeah. He was cute. Honestly, going back to the New Mutants discussion, I kind of wish that Marvel would start giving underrated characters more attention in MCU. Absolutely. 100%. It'd be pretty awesome to have a solo flick for characters like Kwannon or Joanna Cariel. Well, you already know Kwannon is one of my girls. I love Lady Shiva, and Kwannon is my second favorite Marvel character, period. Now Lady Shiva is DC. But I love Kwannon. I love everything about. I loved her when she was Revanche. I love her now that she's taken Psylocke mantle back. I thought it was very amusing that people who never followed, Betsy Braddock did not realize that the Japanese Psylocke was actually Betsy in her body. And so essentially she wasn't being whitewashed. She actually was white to begin with when she got her original body back. There was a big controversial thing about representation, but I will say having Betsy basically taking over an Asian character's body, I mean, that was problematic all in itself. So, yeah, it's just the whole, I don't think they were thinking that story through. It would have been better just to have Kwannon from the beginning. But Kwannon to me is awesome. I love the Hellions team now with her on it. If they're going to do a Hellions movie, they should do the one now with Krakoa, with Psylocke as Sinister's babysitter for the rest of the Hellions team. I think that would be awesome. I'd pay money for that. Let's see. That's why I couldn't get into Enterprise. It was too low rent for my taste. It looked like a fan film. I don't. That's what it was. I swear, it was like they were building the ship while they were filming on it. It was weird. And it's so bad because I love Sam Bakula. My brain's all over the place. I really love Quantum Leap, and so having him play the commander, captain, whatever in Enterprise was just so weird for me. I mean, he's supposed to do well. I think he even does well on his NCIS New Orleans show. So, like, this is the only one I can say was a failure. Let's see. Do you think we could get Emma Frost Hellions in an animated or at very least film or cartoon in the near future? And on that note, what about Joanna Cargill, Frenzy, or Steve Hunter? Honestly, Nicholas, I think the sky's the limit. I don't know. I would love to see, after they introduce New Mutants, we finally get the New Mutants movie. If you remember, New Mutants had a really big rivalry with Emma Frost Hellions. So I would love for that to be a thing, like in a sequel. You know, like New Mutants meet the Hellions or whatever. Like have some kind of controversy going on, or if they have to fight each other. I think it would be cool. I mean, it would be something different. I think it would be a really good opportunity to do something new. But will they? I mean, let's be real. Probably not. I would like if DC like got on board to take some of their, because you remember the Justice League has B characters. We all know this. If you ever watch the animated series, you'll see who was on the B team and who's on the A team, which Oliver Queen in the Justice League is a B character, which is kind of funny if you think about it, considering in the Arrowverse, he's what inspired, according to them, the Justice League. So the twists and turns of the CW is interesting. So I will give them props for making obscure and B-rated characters more popular. I just wish they would do it a little bit closer to the cuff. Like Blurred will be the first to tell you that, you know, Luke Fox in Batwoman is not the Luke Fox in the comics or Batwing. Mr. Terrific is definitely not Mr. Terrific in the comics. So when you look at it from that perspective, having obscure characters is great, but you need to make them at least semi-close to how they were in the comic books, or else they just look silly. And that is the problem, especially with the CW, that I kind of have. And I like the actress, but I was never a Felicity fan. Felicity was in the comics for like a millisecond. Like she was in Batman comics. They made her more evolved after CW's Arrow, and they decided to pair her with Oliver. But that was never a thing. It was always Ollie and you know, Black Canary. And I say Black Canary because, again, he did have a thing with mommy and daughter. It's very creepy, actually, if you think about it. But this whole Felicity thing, that was never a thing. And so it's kind of rough. I do try to be one of those people that doesn't go crazy if it's not comic canon, because you're going to have people of all scopes. You're going to have people that are like, this is not the comic book. What? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I remember when Avengers first came out, everyone was like, oh, I love it. But then there were people that were like, but that's not the true Avengers. That wasn't the first team. That's not who should be on. I'm like, but you got to kind of suspend your disbelief for your enjoyment. I do it all the time, like with Bryan Singer. Those were not X-Men movies by any scope of anyone's imagination ever in life. You are not going to convince me that Anna Paquin was playing Rogue the way Rogue should be played, because that was not Rogue. That will never be Rogue. No, absolutely not. And the last time I checked, Kitty Pryde did not have the ability to send someone's consciousness throughout time. So, yeah. Just gonna leave it there. Let's see here. Scroll up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, Jonathan Brandis. Yeah, that's who it was. I felt so bad like when I read that he killed himself. He's so young, but you know, depression is a thing. Only black human allies to the Xavier Institute. Expand on that, Nicholas. You probably have. I probably haven't read that, but expand on that comment, please. Um, so much better if Quantum was there from the beginning. Yes. I mean, I don't even understand why they couldn't just come up with that concept. She's such a cool character. Quantum, even her backstory. What was her pseudo boyfriend? I call him pseudo. It was Tetsuo, I think, who was like the, if I remember correctly, there were two like warring clans, or I'm thinking like war criminal clans, and she was the main fighter for one side and he was for the other side, and he like fought her and knocked her off the cliff, and that's how she almost died and had, you know, Sinister and Spiral switch their consciousness to begin with. I think at the same time Betsy had been thrown through the portal and was dying herself. It was really interesting and weird how they did that. Betsy Braddock, though, has been tortured and kidnapped so many times, it's hard to keep up with them all. So let's just be real. But now I think she's back to being Captain Britain, and people think that this is the first time she was Captain Britain. She was Captain Britain before. They just probably never read the British versions of the comics back when Marvel had their UK equivalent. But she was Captain Britain in the past. So this is nothing new. There's no reason to celebrate. She's done it before because Brian decided he didn't want to do it. So she took over for her brother. And so, yeah. Let's see here. Okay. I got introduced to Psylocke via video games and the animated series, so until I read those back issues after the Siege Perilous, I had no idea she wasn't born Japanese. A lot of people did because they did a really poor job of explaining that, which is why when we got into Psylocke being able to recreate her body, they should have had that backstory. They shouldn't just been like, bam, you're white again. And so now people are like, oh my God. Like they had no idea. And I mean, you can't get mad at them because they don't know. And if you don't have access to back issues, if you don't frequent comic book stores and you're just getting into it, you know, in the past, 10, 15 years, you're not going to know. So yeah, that was a bad part on Marvel right there. That was definitely their issue. As flat as Fallen Angels was, I really loved it. Quanen's narrative being centered around pain was extremely empowering. I felt so bad when Quanen said that the one thought on her mind was she was a prisoner in her own body, was that her strange daughter would be safe. Yeah. And it turns out she wasn't. She died at the start of Fallen Angels. Yeah, that book's very controversial. Like, I read like half of the first one. Blurred did a video with me on the channel. He was not a fan. I only wanted to check it out, honestly, because of Quanen. That's just it. I will read anything Quanen's in. I just don't have the other ones. I probably will go back and read it because, again, it is a Quanen story. But from what I remember, there was a baby crying. She was supposed to kill whoever was behind the door, and there was a baby crying. And I think the baby is like the mastermind behind everything. And I don't know. It seemed very like a convoluted plot. So I didn't really, at the time, have the brain capacity to just decipher what was happening on top of everything else I was doing. But I probably will go back and check that out at some point. Let's see. Psylocke being white is like Jean Grey being blonde. That's not how I know the character. And her being Japanese is one of the coolest things about her, but glad we have both instead of just Betsy. Yeah. I mean, Betsy was boring as heck in the beginning because, to be fair, she was an empath. And if you know the Braddock story or backstory, their father is from a different dimension where they have heroes and they wanted a new Captain Britain pretty much. And so their father came to the Earth realm to find a wife and knock her up and see if their kid will be able to inherit the power. That's basically it. That is literally why he was there. That's actually very messed up. And he ended up having Jamie, Brian, and of course, Betsy. Betsy's an empath. Brian actually becomes the hero they want, which is Captain Britain. And then Jamie has this crazy, like, reality bending ability. It's just scary. But yeah, I like that Betsy evolved, and she even said it. I think I probably mentioned this in one of the videos that I did about her. Betsy even said that because if you remember about Elizabeth Braddock, she was a model at one point. She was bulimic, so she had an eating disorder because she did not like herself. But when she was in Quanen's body, she started to like herself. She was strong. She could fight. She was able to control her power. She had confidence. She was a better Betsy Braddock in Quanen's body than she ever was in her own body. So I thought in that scope, that was actually interesting. So I don't hate Betsy. She's just not my favorite version of Psylocke. I love Quanen because Quanen is badass. So, let's see. Sorry, it's scrolling really fast. So I'm trying to catch it. I'm going. Okay. Oh, I remember, and the Hellions were the one of the many things that showed Emma's vulnerability and layers. She personally saw them as her kids, not just her students. And when they didn't, Merc. Oh yeah, that's when the infamous cold persona started. Yeah, well, I mean, all her Hellions were killed, so I mean, I'm pretty sure that didn't help. You know, by the time she started, full Hellfire Club, she was a villain. But I really think that was one of the things that really messed her up the most was losing the Hellions. Oliver is C at best. No shade, just saying. Boxing Arrow's girl by it's cute in comics and animation, but practically nah, bro. I mean, you're not wrong. I want to know, since they're doing the Seven Soldiers of Victory, we already saw the Shining Knight on Stargirl. Are we going to see another version of Oliver Queen? I would not be opposed to them getting Justin's, what is Justin's last name? The original Green Arrow from Smallville, because it's an age, he would be an age version of Green Arrow, and I think Justin's around my age, because I'll be 44 in December, so I think he's in his 40s, so I think that would work, honestly, as an aged version of Arrow, and this would be a way of bringing him back into, I guess it was Warner Brothers when they did Smallville, so bringing him into the CW. That would be cool, but then I guess the problem with that, making that problematic, would be how would that tie in with Tom Welling's Clark Kent, because he's from his Earth, and I guess that would be an issue. But they did doppelgangers in The Flash, so I mean, who's to say that another, Green Arrow Oliver Queen doesn't look exactly like the Smallville version? They could probably write around that, honestly. But yeah, I want to know. There was no reason to show that picture with all 7 of them and say the 7 member, and then call, like, even Courtney calling Green Arrow Robin Hood, and Pat saying, I wish I knew where they were now, and then showing us the Shining Knight working as a janitor if we're not going to have more exposure. It's just like the whole thing with Jakeem and the Thunderbolt. I mean, Jakeem inherits the Thunderbolt. Why talk about that being Mike's friend who wants to stay over? You know what I mean? And the Thunderbolt having to be just the pen that, Courtney throws in the cup in her room. So I'm just really curious to see how they tie all that in. But I really will be impressed. I'm worried because it's going to the CW, but I would be really impressed that if before this season is over, we get a hint of some of the older characters and actually have them in the series. That would be cool to me. The main problem with Betsy and Quanen's body was the yellow face. It was cringy, and when she acted Japanese, like describing the function of a katana to beast. Yeah, and see, the problem with that was they made it so they both had both of their memories merged. So Betsy still supposedly retained some of Quanen's, memories, which is why she was able to use a katana and why she was able to be like a really badass assassin and martial artist. Because remember, Betsy did not have martial arts training. She had self-defense training. She trained in the danger room, but she was mostly a field agent minimally. She stayed more with Cerebral and pretty much running things back basically at the school for the team's perspective than going out with them, because she was kind of a liability. Even when she got her telepathic abilities, kind of upgraded a little bit, I mean, they really weren't that great. So, Quanen helped Betsy a lot. Betsy was a more viable member of every team that she was on because of Quanen and Quanen's memories. So yeah, it does suck because it is a perfect example of yellow face. But I think from their perspective, they were doing it to give her an upgrade. It's just sad that it's at the expense of an Asian character. It's just really sad that they couldn't just think outside the box and find a way of making, Betsy better. But, I just wish we could just forget Barry Allen, Oliver Queen, Felicity Smoke, and John Diggle ever existed in the universe because, oh boy, they gave me such a headache. I don't mind John Diggle. I want John to be John Stewart. I think that John has hinted that his last name is not Diggle and that he, like, even how they wrote him, he's he's John Stewart. I have no problem with him being in Metropolis right now since they are doing a Lois and Superman show of having him be Green Lantern. Why show, him finding the flipping ring if he's not going to be? But to be fair, it is the CW. That could be one moment in time to make the fans happy, and then we never see it again, and we never see them again. So I don't know. It has not been announced that Diggle is going to be joining the Lois and Superman or Superman and Lois TV show, but they didn't say he wasn't. So if he does join and he is not Green Lantern, I'm going to be mad. Just saying. I'm just going to be mad. I'm one of those people. I'm fine with changes if it's good. X-Men films, I'm not fine with the changes are bad or not necessary. No reason Avengers had to be all white with one woman. So Serenity, me and you are on the same page. I'm also, and let's be real here, I am not happy with any of the X-Men movies that Bryan Singer has done. And he is the only director in my mind that's so bad at comic book films, he even screwed up DC's Superman Returns. Brandon Routh was amazing. I actually didn't mind Kevin Spacey. I thought he did a really good job as Lex Luthor, but that movie was hot garbage. So I don't know why they keep hiring this man, because he should just stick to something else. I am also a Jules Verne fan, and I love 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and then I heard that he was directing that too, and I'm just like, are you flipping killing? It's almost like I'm being called out. So do not like him. I didn't like him when I was in film school. I just don't like him. I don't. And as a queer person, I don't like when a director uses his sexuality as an excuse for making bad movies. We're not picking on you because you're gay. We're picking on you because you suck. So, but that is my opinion, guys. My opinion. Let's see. Betsy Braddock is better as Captain Britain. The sword and shield fits her nicely. I agree. I liked her as Captain Britain the first time. I don't know why they stopped it, honestly. It might have been an American Marvel decision, though, to try and bring her in. I'll have to go back and really research that. I bet you that's what it was, because they were a lot more, they were risk takers in the UK equivalent for Marvel than they were in the States. When they closed the UK equivalent and they brought, the characters they wanted over to America and incorporating them into the US comics, it did seem like Betsy kind of got thrown back into the supporting damsel in distress role, which a lot of, unfortunately, female characters back then got into. So, Steve Hunter was the only black female human ally of the Xavier Institute. Oh, Stevie Hunter. Okay. Best friends with Storm, and the sole person that taught them social skills, agility, dancing, basic to intermediate hand. You are absolutely correct, and she had cool hair. I loved her hair. Loved her hair. To hand combat along with basic medical skills, since things were new. Yeah, she does kind of remind me of what Beth was supposed to be in Infinity Inc. in a way. I guess I could see that. Stevie Hunter, the equivalent. Yeah, I could see that. Matsuyo, thank you. Matsuyo Suyuraba. Now, I've had 8 years of Japanese. I can say Suyuraba, but I'm learning Korean, so everything is all over the place now. See, that's what happens when you go from hiragana and katakana and then you're learning Hangul. I'm like, brain fried. But yeah, Matsuyo is definitely who I was talking about. I really, 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 really love Kwanen's backstory. It's another reason I'm scared to read Fallen Angel, because I don't want them to taint it. I really like that whole, not really, I guess it is kind of star-crossed, but Matsuyo made some very shady and messed up choices as the comics went on. But I loved her story. The one thing I hated that they had to have Betsy's body get the legacy virus, essentially killing Kwanen in the process. But now we know that Kwanen didn't die, so basically reverted back into her other body with her, which is so weird that we years later we finally figured out that they're both in there. But whatever. Yeah, I think Oh, wait. It went down a little bit. Sorry. Okay, here we go. I think the baby was some kind of AI. I forgot the name of the villain because he's factually forgettable. It's not very clear, but Quanon showed the mercy towards the AI. Yeah, his name starts with an A, I think, something with an A. Yeah, but it just seemed so convoluted. I really would have loved to have more of a mission, and I understand what they were trying to accomplish, but I would like to have more of a overall we need to save the world type mission, not just of yeah the world's in danger by this thing, but it's really because it's thinking that Quan is his mom. You know, it's just really weird. It was really really weird. Let's see. Is it Apoth? Apoth. Thank you. That was the name. You know, Apoth. Okay. Yeah. No. I still need to read it though. I can't be a hypocrite, so I'm gonna have to do that. But yeah, Fallen Angels was not linear enough for me and was not feeling the art. It wasn't the worst thing ever, and it had its good points in the narration, but that's about it for me. Yeah, I got through half of the first issue. I am gonna agree with you. I did not like the artwork at all. I just didn't. It's not my thing. But I felt that same way about. I read a lot of Avatar comics. Like I love Aang. I love Korra. Yes, I love Korra, and I love Korra Sami. If you could see my screen right here, I have a Korra Sami sticker, and I actually have right here a Funko doll of Korra because I love Korra. She's brash. She's a brat, but I love her. So, yeah. But the artwork in Turf Wars, which is one of the first Dark Horse comics that's a sequel, direct sequel to the TV series, was kind of bad. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. So that's kind of how I felt about Fallen Angel. Fallen Angel was like, ugh, no. Let's see here. I was hoping that we could see in the near future the mutant prodigy and expansion of his psychometric abilities, because when M Day, or should I say Dissemination Day, he lost his powers even when he had so much potential. Yeah. I don't know why they always do that. Like, why do you... Maybe because they can't make a movie. They can't put in characters that are actually effective. I mean, like take Days of Futures Past. I mean, why would you make Kitty Pryde of all characters the character to send Wolverine's consciousness back in time? When did Kitty have that ability? Never. I mean, never. So, but this is, I've said this before, my theory with people that write and people that direct, like I'm using Bryan Singer because you know he's my favorite ever. They get a big board and they put a bunch of characters' faces or names up there, and they take a dart and they just throw it, and whatever it lands on, that's what they write the story about. They don't ask what the character is, what the character has done in the comics, what their backstory is. They just think the character looks cool, so we're just gonna use them for this role. I know that this is what happens with Bryan Singer because is it Olivia Wilde who played Psylocke, I believe, in Age of Apocalypse, said that she was explaining to Bryan who Psylocke was while they were filming, and that to me is effing disturbing for somebody to not know, and they are literally in charge of a property that has, like, X-Men has had such an amazing impact on so many people, because a lot of people don't realize, I know Blurred has said this on his channel, the reason me and him are good friends and have been for almost 12, 13 years is because we agree on a lot of like facts, like the fact that comics have always been political. There's never been a comic book that has not been political. So, when Superman was written, it was political. It was for war. It was basically to have a golden boy, you know, in the time of war and depression. And the same with Captain America, and the same with a slew of others. So X-Men it came at a time when it was counteracting people's negative opinions of civil rights. So if you think about that, it's a very important property to a lot of people growing up. And even though it's not as diverse as it should have been, the idea behind it is the same. The same with things like Star Trek. It's the same thing. Star Trek was formed to fight racism. I mean, it is what it is. Why else would you have a Japanese crewman, an African-American female who was on comms, who was on the bridge of a ship? not lower deck. She was a bridge officer, a lieutenant. So, I mean, these are very, very big things. And then you get these people that make these movies that don't give a flip and they don't care. And they treat it like it's stupid. So it's hard. It's hard. So, yeah. Got on my soapbox for a minute, guys. I'm sorry. Let's see. 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 私はリキです。私はマリエです。どうぞよろしくお願いします。Let's see here. Trust me, I know I speak 7 languages, including Mandarin. You speak Mandarin? Girl. Japanese and Korean. When people say something in Japanese, I mess up and speak Korean and vice versa. It's so hard. I mean, my spouse has been doing really well. Like in our house, my spouse will literally write Hangul words down and just put them on certain items so I know what they are. And I'm good at reading Hangul for the most part, except for double consonants sometimes mess me up. But I'm getting better. I'm still learning to speak it, so I can only say like basic things. But I am a fast learner. I learned Japanese in like speak conversationally in under a year. So I think that I think I'll probably, I just got to remember all the laws. So like Japan has a lot of like rules in their alphabets and things and a lot of honorifics. But Korea, even though they have a short alphabet, there's a lot of rules, involved in how to pronounce things. So you got to get used to that. So, but yeah, it is a thing. Korean, and probably because Japan occupied Korea for a little while, it will mess you up because some of the characters, like Hito, for instance, whenever I see the character Hito, I'm like, wait, but that's not. It's not what that is in Korean. So I'm really, yeah, it messes with me. Let's see. I love Korra and Kurosami more than I love anything involving Aang. I agree. I do love, and you see, that'll get you hurt in some nerdoms, like in fandoms. They will kill you for that statement. They will destroy you in Power Ranger terms. I agree. I do love Aang. I do love Katara. I love Sokka's amazing. I think that Korra, even though some of the storyline was a little problematic, I don't know. I enjoyed the flow of the show more. And for me, and I already did a video about this with Shira, with Shira, a few others actually. A lot of people see things in a a heteronormative like viewpoint. So the whole thing with Korra and Asami for them was like out of the blue, but it really wasn't in a way. If you really think about how they both talked to each other throughout their entire journey. These were 2 girls dating basically the same guy, sometimes at the same time, sometimes realizing it and not realizing it. And instead of hating each other, they had nothing but great things to say about each other. Like, Asami's always like, oh, you're amazing, and blah, blah, blah. And then, Korra would say, yeah, Asami's beautiful and graceful and brilliant. And she would just always say stuff like that. And then when she got hurt and, and Asami was taking care of her, I mean, we didn't get to see what happened like the month that, Asami was the only one there for her. And then when she left, the only person she wrote to was Asami. It's just little things like this you got to think about in shows like this. I guess people think when you have 2 characters that are like queer, that we're supposed to be like, I love you, and do like big declaration speeches. And I'm like, that's not how that is in like hetero relationships. Because I don't think Sasuke ever told Sakura at any point that he loved her, even now, and they've got a kid and they're married. So, I mean, people are okay to accept that, but they won't accept Kurosami. And I just think it's really interesting. It's interesting. But I do love Kurosami. I think that they are very cute, and I love the comics, and I really hope they do more, or do a movie, or do another spin-off series. I think it'd be great. I have a slight crush on Suyeon Beifong. Who doesn't have a crush on Beifong? Korra seems so much more troubled than Aang, and maybe why I liked her a lot more. She was, because didn't Aang not have a memory? If I remember, he didn't really remember his past in the beginning. Korra was separated from her family to train for a long time. She had a lot put on her, and I mean, it has to be. I mean, you're following up all of these other avatars, so of course there's a lot of pressure on you. And then I think for the longest time she couldn't airbend very well. And coming from a water tribe, that's, that, I guess that was a thing. And it was interesting how quickly she took the firebending, but not airbending. So she had a lot. There was a lot of stuff that she had to deal with, you know, that Aang didn't have to deal with. So yeah, I like Korra. Um, I believe it was Olivia Munn. Thank you, Olivia Munn, who played Psylocke. You're absolutely right. I think, and it was Olivia that said, there's an article, you can Google it. She said that she spent so much time explaining who Psylocke was to Bryan Singer while they were filming. And I just found that crazy. Like, that's crazy to me. Strangely enough, they never referred to her as Betsy, just Psylocke, I think. Yep, I think they had code names. I think they didn't ever call Storm Arroyo either. I think it was just Storm. And Angel wasn't worn. I don't think. I didn't watch all. I just can't bring myself to finish Bryan Singer movies. I'm sorry, guys. I will always love Team Gang. But I would have loved to see more of Jun, Suki, and Azula, yeah, in Insane Adventures, because seriously, we don't hear anything from them in the later part of the series. Yeah, I know. It's just kind of like they had too many characters. That's what it was. They wrote really interesting side characters in Korra that you wanted to know more of. I don't remember if I have to go back and look at the 2 comic series that came out. I don't remember if they're in them, but I will check again. I want to say Azula was. I'll have to check that again. Korra. They changed it because they in their mind can't do a movie with Kitty as the lead since they stole her story. Just leave her out and have Rachel send Loa back. It would have been cute for fans too. Yeah. See a future child of Scott and Jean so they know he is, you know, Endgame and Logan is a 5-minute bleep. Serenity. In Korra, I was in love with Wei and Wing Beifong because they reminded me so much of Fred and George of the infamous Harry Potter. Oh, the twins. Oh, they had such a bad fate at Harry Potter. I was so upset. One lost an ear, one lost a life. That's as twins, losing your twin, especially when you're that close, that's hard. That is hard. I can't speak or read Korean, even though I am Korean, raised in a mixed race household, Korean, Thai, Italian. There's nothing wrong with that. I always say my father was born in the States, here in Memphis, actually. He is black. His father is full Apache, which is why I look like this. And my mother was born and raised in a town called Cove Bay in Aberdeenshire, Scotland. And then I did my 23andMe, and apparently I am also Chinese, and I'm Southern European, Northern European, Eastern Asian, Northern Asian, and a bunch of other stuff. So I am very, very mixed. So I understand. When I was little, I had a British accent. I still have a British accent. I just never use it. I developed an American accent because I was picked on as a child. And my mother spoke Gaelic. So, yeah. It was an interesting upbringing. And I was a military brat, so we traveled a lot. So I got to experience a lot of different things. I was born in Germany, and we lived in 4 countries and 5 cities, 3 states growing up. So, yeah. And you see my Hawaii hat. I didn't live in Hawaii. I went there on my honeymoon, though. I was having a Hawaii flashback, so I decided to wear my hat, be cultural and stuff. Let's see here. I also was in love with everybody's in love with Sokka. So wait, does this mean I'm part of Sokka's squad? Yes, you are, Nicholas. I'm sorry. Welcome to the team. It took me a while to get the double down, starting listening to K-pop 20 years ago, officially started studying the language in 2006, learned to read and write in 2 months, and I understand writing better than speaking. I don't accept it. Sasuke is in love with Naruto and vice versa. Their relationship with women is forced and fake, and I don't buy you. You said it yourself. I never saw Sasuke tell Sakura he loved her. He doesn't. He does this thing like, it's almost like he's like, bye. You know? It's almost like he knocked her up and now he had to marry her. I could see the bromance between Naruto and Sasuke. Honestly, a lot of couplings in there confused me greatly. So, whatever. I don't know what's happening in the village of Leaf. They can just do what they do. Let's see. By the time towards the final season of Korra, I was of the impression that Mako was low-key bisexual from the way he deals with Wu. Yeah. Wu is another character that is very interesting and gets better in the comics. If you haven't watched... if you have not read the Dark Horse comics, which are kind of like a sequel to the TV series, you should. The first one's not as good, but the second one, and for some reason the name escapes me, but I own it, was actually very good. It was a very, very good series. Let's see here. Da-da-da-da. The Beifong was probably the most rewarding thing in Legend of Korra. They seemed like a real dysfunctional family. Lin was amazing. Suyeon had very little exposure. Yeah, the Beifongs have a good story. That's actually their family's dynamic is actually part of the second comic series too. So, um, yeah, you really should check it out. I really enjoyed the sequel comic, and I really want them to do another one. I think there's so many stories they could still tell with Korra and them, especially now. Um, there's just a lot. There's a lot that they could do with Korra, but right now they're concentrating, I think, more on the live action Last Airbender TV series on Netflix that's coming out. I mean, obviously, because of COVID, they're probably nowhere near casting it, but they greenlighted it, so we should be getting one. Let's see. Let's see. I'm surprised Boruto is a thing. Since personally I don't see Hinata and Naruto happening, because in my opinion, by the fourth Ninja War, they became totally different people. Yeah. Hinata seemed to have a thing for him, though, from the beginning. It was weird. Like, it was like an obsession almost. But she's cute, so, and she's very powerful. And I will say that their child is extremely she is so cute. Like, I do love the scene where Boruto rips her, what was her name? Himawari, I think. He rips her bear, and then she gets really calm, and she's like, "Oh, brother, so I see you've chosen death." I'm like, I love that. That was so funny to me. So if I didn't have Naruto and Hinata pairing, I would have never had Himawari, and then that would have been a tragedy, because that little girl, she makes my life when I watch that show. When I watch it, it's so hard. It's hard to try and keep up with all of it. It's just a lot. It's a lot of involved characters and a lot of people and a lot of it's just a lot. I want a Lin and Tenzin romance novel. He'd have to divorce his wife first. I got that vibe too. I never got that Korra and Asami vibe, but Mako and Prince Wu, I was like, are they going to? But it never happened. Guess it was all in my head. Well, maybe that should have been a thing. Maybe they would have accepted that more, but I don't know. I've always thought that Korra and Asami, I mean, if you really just look at it now, knowing that they're eventually going to get together, you'll see moments that it's just like, oh, that makes sense. Because what I read from the creators is Nickelodeon was very hesitant to do a same-sex character. Because, I mean, this is the first same-sex coupling on a children's TV show ever. So Nickelodeon did not know how that was going to go down. And I get it. I mean, it's scary. You don't know how people are going to react, how parents and like, look at the Hallmark Channel, for example. They have never done a queer anything. There's a show called The Good Witch that's on. It's been on, I think they're going into season 7 or 8. And there's never, and just recently I saw a black character. I think they have them sporadically over the last 2 seasons. But for the first few seasons, I never saw a minority. And you're sure as heck not going to see anyone in the LGBT community in Middleton. What's ironic about that for me right now is they cast a new character who plays another cousin of the main character. The show comes on Sunday nights. This actress also plays a lesbian in Winona Earp. She plays Officer Hot, also that will be on Sunday nights. So it's like these 2 shows are on at the exact same time. So if you're queer, you can watch Winona. If you're anti-queer, you can watch The Good Witch, I guess. I don't know. But Hallmark Channel is not in any, I don't think anytime soon will they ever have a Christmas movie that has, even a bisexual, maybe a side character, but not a main coupling. And they got into a lot of trouble, or at least the CEO, I think, had to leave because they even took down a commercial that had spotlighted a lesbian couple for like 5 seconds in a commercial. And families were threatening to ban the network. So I think for Nickelodeon, knowing how toxic people can be about things they don't agree with, especially where, I hate to say it, because this is not me putting religion on scope, because I have no problem with that. I'm married, I'm in an LGBT marriage, and my spouse was raised Catholic, so it has nothing to do with that. But there are people that use religion to their benefit to ostracize other people, and it's these people that are trying to control, or as they like to say to people that are LGBT that have an agenda, they actually have the agenda. They're trying to make it so relationships like mine are not seen as normal. And so, yeah, the whole thing with the Koronosami, when you look at it from that way, like I said, a heteronormative scope, it's not going to look like, oh, these two girls just, it's going to look to you like they just randomly threw these two characters together. They were planning this the whole time. They were like trying to get Nickelodeon on board. So it's really hard as a creator to try and do what you want when the networks are scared. And that's the reality, unfortunately. Let's see here. Speaking of vibes, apparently a writer on Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated confirmed that Velma was gay in the canon. I mean, we never saw her with a guy. she only ever had a relationship with a guy in the live action movie, or a crush on a guy in the live action movie, which is not considered canon in a way. So, makes sense. I always thought something was different about her, and now that's confirmed, it makes so much sense. Yep. I just wish that the filler episodes of Naruto were canon, because characters like Yakumo Kurama, who had an insane genjutsu that affected reality, are Menma, an exiled bandit member from the Sound Village. Yeah, and see, I don't, for the most part, as long as these mangas are, it's sad that they have to have filler episodes, but I do get it, because, like, this is a Yuri comic. I read this one called Citrus Plus, and I swear the writer, I feel like she writes an issue once every 6 months. So I think, I don't know if it's because of health reasons. I don't know if we just burnt out. But I think that even though the original creator of Naruto is not doing the Boruto comics, I think that the new manga artist is also burning out. Because it's a lot. It is a lot to do all of the time. So I get that. I do get that. I can see how that would be an issue. Apparently, they couldn't say it in words and try to convey her sexuality with her interaction with another character in the show. Yep. The mystery. Well, so the Mystery Incorporated continuity had Velma date Shaggy. I do remember that. She broke up with him and ended up having a real strong reaction to having an intelligent female pen pal. Yeah. I just remember like in the old, like the original cartoon series, it was always, Daphne and Fred was more like the implicated ones that may like each other, that, or he was in love with it. Scott, I don't know, but and Shaggy and Scooby had a very bromance, but that was really kind of weird since Scooby's a dog. But Velma never really had, a reaction to anyone in the OG, in the OG cartoon. She was the brain of the operation, but you never saw her ever say, "Oh, he's so dreamy," or "He's so," that was never Velma. So yeah, it makes absolute sense that that's what it was. I personally saw Naruto as gay more often than pansexual due to fan fiction and his choice of words, actions within the series. So again, I asked, besides our beloved Himawari, what was the point of, Naruhina? When it is likely a disaster, I swear Hinata was a stalker. Yeah, she was a stalker. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I actually don't know. I have a friend who is a die-hard Naruto and Hinata coupling supporter. Even before we ever thought Naruhina was going to be a thing, she was adamant. Just like I remember back in the Harry Potter days when it was, that was the first ship I think I ever saw, ever, was the whole Harry Hermione or Harry Ginny thing. And how many people were pro Hermione and Harry versus him with Ginny, and how my friend actually was very Harry Ginny, and so when it was made canon that Harry married Ginny, she was very justified, and everybody else was losing their mind. But yeah, ships are crazy. Ships will like make or break your mind. I just I try not to have too many, but it's hard. It's just like when I talk about Motherland Fort Salem. I know that I'm risking my life whenever I say that Raelle is dating a serial killer. And I'm like, I know I'm risking my life. But come on, guys. She helped kill over 1,200 people. She did a spell that made them drop to their deaths. That's a killer. So ships, though, and when you love a canon so much that you can overlook mass homicide or murder, that's how you know that ships are powerful things. But just so you know, Motherland Fort Salem, if you don't follow my reviews on that, I am pro Raelle and Abigail. Scylla is cool. I like the actress, but I am pro 100%. I want Raelle with Abigail. Abigail almost, like, literally almost died for this girl. Like, literally almost died for her. So if you don't get the canon from that, something's wrong with you. And plus, I like the build up between the two. I think starting off as enemies, then becoming slow friends, then considering themselves to be family, and then eventually being canon, in a relationship. That's cool to me. But so many people will be like, no, it came out of nowhere. I'm like, no, it didn't. I'm like, no, it did not. But yeah, just my opinion. Ships, man. Let's see. And I'm telling you, the only men she showed the slightest bit of interest in were like specials like Johnny Bravo and Sam Winchester, but that was mainly due to certain aspects like their body and minds. Because of her behavior in the OG Scooby-Doo series, a lot of people view Velma as ace. I don't know if it's confirmed that she is gay in other shows. Mystery Incorporated was its own separate continuity. She's confirmed lesbian in that. She could be bisexual, though, honestly. Because I'm pansexual. I've been married to a man, and I've been married. Well, my current spouse is trans male, but born biologically female, has not transitioned. So when people see us together, they either, depending on what River is wearing, which if you don't know what my spouse looks like, watch my video on the last Stargirl review. That's my spouse. But people could take River as a girl or a boy. It just really depends on where we go. So who knows? But yeah, we don't know. Velma could be bi or pansexual. We know that in the LGBTQ AI plus community, unfortunately, we hate each other. I hate on each other more than the outside community. It just seems like everything after the LNG does not exist. So when you get to B, it's like better like next time. Trans is too much. It just seems like they just assigned a different name to the acronym. So yeah, Velma, if she's a lesbian, awesome. If she's bisexual, pansexual, awesome. I don't think you need to have labels. She's also on the spectrum. She could just like what she likes, and people just need to get over it. But I think it's cool that they're making a diverse character, because it would be it's already hard when they have everybody in Scooby-Doo is white, and then you have the dog who's brown, but there's no other diversity except for the people they interact with. So that's, to me, is already a problem. But, it is what it is. I don't want to keep saying that. People are going to think I'm having an agenda. Let's see. In the DC Comics Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, Velma ends up marrying Shaggy. I can't see them together. I'm sorry. That's just weird. In the recent Scooby-Doo movie, they make Velma Latina. Okay, that's not bad. Don't worry, Maria. I'm your lieutenant in this ship. Bell Collar gives me life. Thank you, Nicholas. So you see it, right? You see the chemistry. They have chemistry. I'm telling you, these two have chemistry, and that is a loud car. They have chemistry. From episode 1, I saw it. Like, yes, Scylla and her are cute together. I'm not going to downplay that. But I can't overlook the fact that Scylla is batshit crazy. I'm sorry. Abigail was stuck up. She was basically a mini version of her mother, and Raelle brought her out of that. Tally had a little to do with that, because Tally was kind of like the little glue between them, but Raelle changed Abigail by questioning her, by questioning things that she believed. And then when other people would like pick on Raelle, here comes Abigail, like, no, that's my girl. Their whole relationship evolved over the course of those 13 episodes amazingly. And it was believable, and it was not overnight. And honestly, how Abigail was checking out Raelle and Beltane at that table, you cannot tell me there were not queer vibes. I'm just saying. Besides, Abigail never expressly said she didn't do girls. I'm just saying. So, just putting that out there. I didn't ship them, and I just thought based on their behavior and how much she hated, annoyed by Ron, Hermione would never be with him, and she being the female lead would end up with Harry. Yeah, it was really interesting. I did not know. So when you read the books, you kind of had an inkling that probably at the well, actually no, maybe for me it was a Goblet of Fire. That something may be going on between Ron and Hermione, but it was so It was so weird. It's just like whenever Ron would like somebody, like I remember him liking that girl Lavender and like Hermione losing her mind. Um, with completely jealous. And then when Hermione was with Victor Crumb, Ron wasn't happy and was very upset. And Harry was kind of like, "What?" In the movies, though, it did make it seem like Harry was more into Hermione. Like he seemed more into Hermione than he was into Cho and Ginny. So I don't know. I guess it's just your perspective. I mean, I could have missed things, you know, we all do, but I do agree with that. It did seem like in the movie specifically, it was more of a Harry Hermione thing than a Hermione and Ron. But Ginny did like Harry from the jump, though, both in the book and in the movies. So everything she did was to groom herself to be his wife, and I guess it worked out. She took Hermione's advice. Let's see. I'm forever Naruto and anyone else besides Hinata, Sakura, and at times Sasuke. He should be with himself. He did his part. He has Himawari now. Can move on. He just needed to make Himawari, and now he can move on and be his own self. Besides, he's never home anyway, so. Oh, I didn't know River was trans. I will use proper pronouns now that I know. It's fine. River's very like accepting, and like the dysphoria that a lot of people in the trans community have about that, River doesn't. So River knows people are trying. So it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it's not like I put on the video, "This is my trans spouse." So you're completely okay. Let's see. Okay. I love when I'm scrolling down and it tries to scroll back up. Personally, I just saw Shaggy with the alien girl Crystal from the movie. Yeah, I could see that. I could see Shaggy with anybody but Velma. I just don't want him with Velma. As a black queer male, I saw Bell Collar Signs. Their whole relationship and the development in it had in that single season was like, damn. And as for Scylla Girl, you you a full-blown psychopath that needs to come to Jesus moment and grow some empathy. Okay, hear me out. I'm gonna give you some sob story stuff, okay? So me. My mother died. My previous spouse died of brain cancer. I don't have a good relationship with my dad, who is also dying. I have a brother with special needs, and my father's family disowned us because my mother was white. Reverse racism. I know it's messed up, right? And I've been through a lot of crap, and I'm sure all of you have been through a lot of crap. But our first inclination is to not go to an event, look at a cute little girl who's playing with a ball or a balloon or whatever, have a balloon in your hand, whisper an incantation, and make that little girl and a bunch of other little kids and their parents and other people go up the stairs and start dropping to their deaths, and then walk away and say, "We are the spree," and then go off to boot camp and try and seduce a girl, fall in love with her, because when you fall in love with the main character and you're cute together, that means all of your sins are now forgiven. And then, choose her in the end, but still show no remorse to killing your ex-boyfriend, to all the people that you've killed. You only feel bad that you got caught because now Raelle knows. I'm showing empathy. I'm still watching her, and I like the actress. Sorry, let me drop my mic. Let's see. Going back to Silk in the new Spider-Verse, she better not be super young. She's the same age as Peter and Jessica Drew. They'll be failing if they make her as young as Gwen. I am worried that they're going to de-age her to try it. I will be upset if they make her the love interest for Miles. Because Miles has his own story and his own love interest and his own stuff going on. He doesn't have to be tied in with another character. Like they tried to do that with Gwen too, which is interesting. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I hope they don't. I hope they keep it where in the Spider-Verse, they lose Spider-Man or Peter Parker. Because remember, she's the only one that can be the one person in the Spider-Verse that has that connection where she can find him because they were bitten by the same spider. Will they keep that in there? I don't know. Will they even acknowledge the fact that she was bitten by the same spider on the same day? I don't know. Will they keep her backstory about being stuck in that bunker for 10 years? I don't know. Will she be looking for a I think all of that would be awesome. I think all of that would be awesome if they keep her dark storyline, but I don't know. You have so many characters in Spider-Verse. It's going to be really hard to focus on all of them, but I think it would be really cool if they did. I really do. Let's see. I swear Harry was bisexual because I will say again, he saw his interest in both Cho and Cedric because I was like, baby boy, yes, I'm here for this. But seriously, why, Ginny? Seriously, why? So Nicholas, we're gonna agree on this. And it could be the actress. And I don't remember. Bonnie Wright, I think her name was. Her and Daniel Radcliffe had no chemistry. It was like watching like butter melt without ever being heated. That is probably the best way I can describe that situation. They had zero chemistry. It was weird. Like watching paint dry. The same for me could be said for Rupert and Emma Watson, but only because they acted too silly together. Like they acted like siblings, so it was almost incestual. I understand what happened in the book, but it didn't reflect onto the screen because of the actors being so close and being, they were like buddy. They were like siblings on the set. So I don't know. It's hard. I do see it though, but of all the characters in Harry Potter, I kind of feel like even Luna had a better chemistry with Harry than Ginny did. So yeah, I'm on that page with you. We're on the same page. No, Cindy has Hector and they're adorable. Yes, I love Hector. And will they have Hector? Will he be in his ghostly form? Or will he? There's so much they could do. Again, though, with a movie like Into the Spider-Verse, if it had been a solo Silk movie, I could see them doing a lot more. But there's so many characters, so I don't know. But I know in the first one we got everybody's backstories as narrations, and I thought that was very cool. So it'd be cool if they like started talking. They're like, "Wait, it's our turn," and they start going by they start doing their backstories. That would be very, very cool. I would like that. Let's see. Cindy's initial introduction, I believe, due to Dan Slott's writing. Where did you go? Come back! No. Sorry, it went away again. Okay, here we go. Dan Slott was awful in the way they tried to pair her up with Peter. It was shameless. Pheromones. I know, but you know what? It's not Cindy's fault. It's because Peter's a hoe. Peter Parker is a hoe. Peter Parker has slept with so many women. And the one I always talk about is a character I mentioned earlier was Glory. Glory was dating the guy that was helping Peter out by letting him stay with him as a roommate. It was his girlfriend, and Peter was hitting on her because Peter has no shame. So I'm going to say, I love Spider-Man. I like Peter Parker, but I know what he is. He's a hoe. He's a hoe. Keep his webbing in his pants. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Preach, Maria. I mean, seriously, she needs some self-reflection on her actions and how they cause innocent people harm or death, and finally realize that, oh shit, I'm fucked up and needs to get my ish. Yeah. See, for me, if Scylla had said, well, maybe I'm a little messed up, and I actually do regret, and actually showed remorse for all the deaths of those people and her ex-boyfriend who did nothing to her and just basically was there. She was going to kiss him just to whisper in his ear for him to go kill himself, and then showed no remorse when he walked out the door to go jump, only showed remorse when Raelle tried to save him and she was watching, and then you saw Raelle looking up at her and Raelle passed out, and that's when she showed, like, she was so worried then, and it's like, you literally just caused this man to die and you don't even care. And so that is why I have a problem with Scylla. It's why I know people get upset with me in my reviews when I say that I am not a Scylla fan. Again, the actress for her, Amalia Holmes, I think it's Holm, brilliant actress. I think she plays her to the point where sometimes I want to slap her. So she's doing a great job. I love her. Just like Alder's actress is amazing because I want to smack Alder in every episode. So I love the actress. This is no shame on that. I think that she's perfect for this show, and I hope they don't recast her. I really would like to see her show more remorse in season 2, since we have a season 2. But as far as Raelle is concerned, if they put her back with Raelle and there's no remorse and there's no, retribution, I will literally say screw the show, because that is BS. You have to have retribution. You cannot just have a character just do all of this crap. But because I love you, it's okay. And because I said sorry to you, it's okay. No, that's not how that works. So, yeah. Yeah, I call BS. And in the meantime, look at our girl Abigail. That girl jumped off of that chopper. She could have flown away. She went over to Raelle. She linked her life force to hers, was literally dying. They had no idea the mushroom or whatever it was that saved them, their witch bomb, whatever we're calling it, because we don't know officially what it is, was going to save both of them. We had no idea. Because if Raelle had not touched that mushroom, they'd be dead right now. Because I know Raelle has powers, but between her and Abigail, they're not strong enough to save each other from dying. So as far as Abigail is concerned, she was going to die with her. That to me is a heck of a lot more powerful than being in love with somebody who's in the spree, who chose you at the last minute instead of taking you to the beach to meet up with. Now we know it was her mother. She chose, her basically Raelle, which again, that is a thing. I'm not going to take that away from her, but it was for Raelle. So it wasn't for anybody else. She did not care that everybody else was being attacked. She did not care. Abigail could have been killed up there if her mother hadn't come up there. That is my problem with it. And it's so irritating for me when people get upset with me, especially on my reviews, and they're like, you're just not understanding and you don't understand love and blah. I'm like, really? Come on, guys. Number one, it's a TV show and these are characters. And number two, think about what you're saying. If this woman walked into your house and killed your entire family, but then she went out with Raelle and you thought they were cute, would you be okay with that? She's not sorry that your family's dead, but she's very cute with Raelle. Her and Raelle look really good together, and you ship them. So it's all right. Bye, mom. Bye, dad. Bye, brothers and sisters. Bye, husband. Bye, kids. It's still in Raelle. It's so insane when you think about it. So, yeah, it's weird. It's just weird. I'm really glad Robbie Thompson undid that nonsense and gave Cindy an old love interest, Hector. Yeah, I'm glad she got Hector. I really want them to do a Silk movie. You're making me want a live action Silk movie now. Now that I'm talking about this, I'm going to be super critical of Silk's cinematic debut. She needs to be older. She also needs to be visibly faster than all the other spiders. Yes, not as strong, but definitely faster. And have better spider sense. And she needs to love Pokemon, and she needs to be angry, very angry. Yes, be in anger management. Yep. I waited far too long for Cindy's introduction, so it must be perfect. Ito, it may not be. I'm just letting you know. I don't want you to be upset. So I'm gonna try and dim your expectations a little bit. The Cindy you have in your head and the Cindy that we see in the comics, I don't think that's going to be who we see in the movie. I think having her in the movie is a step for us. And I'm saying this like I'm Korean American, but I am Korean through marriage. And so it is a step for us. But I feel like, unfortunately, that movie is too broad to get it completely 100% correct. So I don't want you to be upset if it does not turn out the way you want it. But I am on board with what you're saying. So we'll pray about it. And yes, I will admit, I do love Drury and all the unresolved drama. But I'm one of the few that ship Harry with any other person besides Hermione, Ginny, Ron, etc. Yeah, I ship Harry with. Honestly, I think Harry should be by himself too. Love yourself, Harry. You need nobody else. Because in Fran and Draco is basically a well-written person that shows his perspective on things. Yeah, and what is his last name? Why am I blanking on Draco's actor's name? Well, he's amazing. I liked him in The Flash. I like him in all the movies that he does. He plays excellent roles. He's a very good actor. So But Draco got a woman, and he didn't have to worry about all the other stuff. You know, Draco was like, yeah, I'll leave it for the next generation to work out. Let's see here. Wasn't there supposed to be a solo Silk movie rumored to be in development? There is, actually. There's still rumored ones. There's also a Jessica Drew movie. I don't know what's going to happen because MCU is behind. We don't know, because they'd have to be tie-ins. We don't really know anything at this point. 2020 is a weird year, and I kind of feel like a lot of plans are being scrapped right now or put on the back burner. So who knows? It could be 20 years before that happens. Let's see. And I'm still highly pissed that most people don't recognize Andromeda Tonks, and the only still living and only black sister of the Narcissus and Bellatrix. Yeah, they did. Now, I know I saw her in Fantastic Beasts 2, right? Right. Is she mixed, though? I thought she was biracial. I'm going to have to go back and watch the second movie again. But yeah, people don't recognize anyone. Also, all the stuff of J.K. Rowling and some of the things she's saying, especially her transphobia, has been causing a lot of issues in the community, so I wouldn't take it too personally. I think the first problem on that set was the whole thing with Johnny Depp, basically having accusations put against him, and then the stuff with his wife, girlfriend, whatever, Amber Heard, and now the whole transphobic stuff that J.K. Rowling has been saying. It's very problematic to begin with. So that is a problem. They don't recognize Andromeda, but that is the least of the problems in that franchise. Yeah, at the very least, she needs to be short-tempered and must make 90s references as much as possible. I agree. And pop bubblegum. I didn't see her pop a lot of bubblegum, but I just kind of envision her doing that. But that could be more of a Jubilee thing, and she's Chinese, so ignore that completely. Felton, thank you. Tom Felton. Thank you very much. Hello, Aggressively Relaxing. How are you? Because in all honesty, yes, she was the Piper of the family, but really that her family was toxic to the point that drew her rage. She left married a Muggle, Hufflepuffs, which was blasphemy. Yeah, black family because of their prestigious bloodline or whatever. I think there's probably a lot of characters like that in the Harry Potter lore. I really, and I mean, I'm guilty of this. You get caught up in the canon, so you just kind of read to see where your main characters are going. There's probably a lot of people that I missed, both in the movies and in the books. Just like Dumbledore being gay, and I guess his partner was Nicholas Flamel. I mean, they kind of played it off at the beginning of them being friends. I don't know if JK made him gay because he was always gay, or if she made him gay because people were assuming that because she had no LGBT representation at all in her books, that she was anti-LGBT. So then she had to make up for it by making one of the most notable characters in Harry Potter gay. We'll never know. We will never know. I do know, though, that some of the stuff she's been saying that are transphobic are kind of messed up, and it's really made me see her in a new light, so it's really hard for me to say really nice things about her right now. But, you know, I try not to be that person. I try not to, because there is another character, another actor in Hollywood that has been accused of being very homophobic, and that is Denzel Washington. That's speculation. Don't go back and say, Maria said. I'm just saying that there have been a lot of reports and a lot of people talking about that, and if that's true, because he used to be one of my favorite actors. That is very heartbreaking, but at least I still have Sidney Poitier. I'm like, just saying. It's kind of interesting how we should separate the work of problematic people from problematic people. H.P. Lovecraft is known to have transformed the landscape of horror writing, but Lovecraft himself was a tremendously hateful person. Yep. Wasn't he also on drugs? Wasn't Lovecraft on drugs? I have to go back and look at that. I think, because I know Lewis was on drugs. C.S. Lewis was on some kind of, there were 2 drugs he was taking that was making him hallucinate. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. I think back then a lot of people were on drugs. No, Andromeda Tonks and the mother of, Nymphadora Tonks. Thank you. I did not remember her. Formerly the middle child of the Black family, formerly Slytherin, who escaped the toxic family and is married to Ted Tonks, who tried his best. I'm sorry, Nicholas. You know, I claim my blackness, but I missed that one, so I apologize. That is you right now. You can just go ahead and vlog me because I literally forgot. So, my bad. So yeah, I am one of those that is guilty of not remembering Andromeda, and it should make you angry, and you should always remind me of this moment all the time as penance. Let's see here. I know I missed something and I'm so sorry. It's like the chat is going down really, really quickly and I'm trying to get to it. All right, so we're going to, I know some people came in too late because the other chat kind of, the last live stream went a little crazy. Let me read this comment and then I'm going to say what I was going to say. It's always a bit of a quandary for me whenever I mention Lovecraft. I really like his concept of horror, but the first thing that comes to mind was how racist he was as a person I know. And unfortunately, throughout history, that is the norm. Now, a lot of people are victims of ignorance. So, you know, it's almost like generational poverty. If your grandmother or grandfather is poor and mommy and daddy are poor, 9 times out of 10, you are going to be poor unless some anomaly you're able to have like another opportunity of somebody helping you to not be poor. The same as with ignorance. Children are not ignorant. They are taught it. So if daddy and granddaddy and grandmother are racist or ignorant or hateful people, and so was mommy and daddy, 9 times out of 10, you are too. And Lovecraft just probably didn't have the exposure to get out of that because back in those days everybody was probably like that. So, and the ones that weren't were hiding it because they didn't want to be ostracized. So yeah, it's kind of like the Underground Railroad. We need to remember that in the Underground Railroad there were a lot of white people that were helping slaves escape at the risk of being called the N-word or N-lovers and hung and killed themselves. Same with the Holocaust. There were a lot of German citizens that were helping Jewish people escape, but you couldn't tell people who you were without being murdered and killed yourself. So I think Lovecraft just wasn't around people that could probably help him see a better way of thinking. I have to be that way or I would hate everyone. That's pretty much my perspective. Let's see. Really quickly, because I wanted to ask this question. What does everyone think, as I said this earlier, what does everyone think about Noah Centineo cast as Atom Smasher in the Black Adam movie? That will probably never be filmed because of COVID. Every time, I said this earlier, every time I see him, I keep thinking about Courtney and Stargirl, and CW Stargirl. I keep seeing them side by side because remember in the comics, they had an inappropriate relationship to most people because of their age difference. This time, Courtney's actress really does, like Brett Bassinger looks like she's 15, even though I know she's in her 20s. Just seeing her in a relationship with this guy who plays Atom Smasher just looks so wrong, and I just wonder if they're going to incorporate that in her storyline at some point. The older guy coming in. That'd be interesting. Let's see here. Okay, don't worry, you are spared because the series was a lot to deal with and you are forgiven. Thank you, Nicholas. I need forgiveness in my life. Can we get a conclusion or at least another season to Shannara Chronicles? I know, because of being messy and a lot, but they left us on a cliffhanger. Did they resolve it in the books? I never read the book series. I heard the books were really good. I wonder if, like, I don't know if this TV series, the second season was, you know, kind of diverged a little bit from it, or was it verbatim like the book? Because if it was verbatim, then maybe we could just read the last few books. I don't know how many there are, and then see what happens. Because I hate where they left it. That was so stupid, and I hate that MTV canceled it. And they always do that crap. And I wish they had put it on Netflix and did another series. But whatever. Though I do love Poppy as Abigail in Charmed. So we did get her in Charmed, so that's a good thing. Only because I want her to be with Mel, but that's a personal opinion. Let's see here. To be honest, I'm not familiar with the Shazam continuity. Okay. My only exposure was that lady in Legends of Tomorrow who was apparently Black Adam's lover in comics. Yeah. So yeah, Atom Smasher is an interesting character. I really, really wonder. Like, I just remember that being a big deal in the comics that, you know, Stargirl and him had that they were in love with each other, but there was such an age gap and there was so many issues. And I just thought, just looking at the actor they cast, if you just take him and then Photoshop her next to him, it's just so inappropriate. And now I see it, because in the comics you can't see it as much, because they always draw characters older. Like if you're a younger character, they'll make you more developed and you'll look older than you actually are. They did it with Jubilee all the time. So seeing Atom Smasher now with this actress is very weird to me. It's just very strange. And now I'm seeing it as a parent, and I try not to be judgmental, but I'm like, oh, that's so weird looking. Let's see. The absolute spam of Batman has pushed me so far away from DC Comics. Yeah, City of Bane was very interesting for Batman too. I know a lot of people hated City of Bane because there was that one. I was reviewing it on my channel and I stopped when they did the island episode. It was almost like a reality show where Selena and him were like surfing on the water and like getting Mai Tais. And I'm like, this is just weird. Let's see. They are on Netflix, but wish they had another season. Yeah, I think I probably saw them. I may even be in my queue. I just wish that Netflix had decided, because I know they did this. They did that with Lucifer. They saved that show. They saved a few shows. So I wish that they had decided to save, Shannara and then did another season. But then again, that One Day at a Time show, they actually canceled that. It ended up on the Pop, I think, network, or I want to say it's the Pop network, and got another season. So I don't know the formula for Netflix. It's very confusing, actually. It really is. I remember seeing Atom Smasher in Justice League animated. He was more of a jobber than, always getting wrecked if he's not just a background character in an episode. What I think about Noah being Atom Smasher is that, will the character be bland, no rib depth, because the thing the actors try has never really panned out? I mean, I guess you can really only do what the script gives you, but I don't know. That is a good question, actually. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how he interacts with most of the cast of Black. I need to figure out who the rest of the Black Adam cast is besides our lead, because I don't think I've really been paying attention, because I really was hoping the movie would be done by now, and it hasn't even started production. So yeah, this is probably one of the longest delays besides New Mutants release that we've had in any comic book universe. So that's interesting. But yeah, I saw that. That was one of the headlines today. I think I saw that on Superhero Hype today. I was like, oh, they went ahead and cast another actor in the movie that hasn't started yet and has no real date because of COVID, which isn't their fault. But yeah, like I said, 2020 is a weird year. I think this will be the first year we don't have some. Well, I mean, technically that's not true. So we did have Bloodshot. We have a few comic movies, but nothing real big and mainstream. Like we're supposed to have New Mutants. I think was supposed to come out in March. It was March or May, and of course Wonder Woman's supposed to come out in December. I don't know if we're gonna make it because honestly, if COVID's bad in the summer, it's gonna be worse in the winter. And I don't really think. I keep holding out hope, but I just don't foresee New Mutants making it to the theaters in August. I really don't, because I don't foresee the theaters opening in August. So they may have to make that tough choice and just do digital, which they should have done, probably back in May. They should have done, released it digitally. It probably would have done extremely well, and they probably would have really seen some revenue. And think about an international release digitally. I think it would have been great, because people would have had access to it even if it was banned in their country. So, but then I guess technically they probably were worried about pirating too. There's just so much to think about. So much. Atom Smasher looks very brutish. Noah doesn't really seem to like a great fit. He's more of a pretty boy than a big bruiser. True, that's true. But you never know. They probably will brute him up. Look at the actor, the English actor who plays Luther in The Umbrella Academy. He's tall. He's 6'5", but he's very lanky. He has some muscles now because I know he worked out for the role. But if you look at some of the other pictures, he wasn't that big. So it's amazing what a good gym will do. I'm looking forward to the comic-based games. Miles Morales on PS5 and the Avengers game from Square. Yes. I agree with that. I'm all down for Miles Morales on PS5. The only problem is buying the PS5. I'm like, it's so expensive. I might be living vicariously through YouTubers playing the game and doing the cutscenes. Let's see here. That I'm looking forward to later, mostly because of Kamala and the hope of DLC characters. Yeah, I'm hoping Kamala gets. What about America? I think America should get a movie too. She's actually on my list to talk about. Another Hispanic female, because I'm doing all, like, I have Vixen on the list. I have Nubia. I know Blur's done. I think just did a Vixen and a Nubia video. I have Bumblebee. Bumblebee is actually one of the ones coming up after I'm done with Monica Fury. And a lot of people don't know about Monica Fury and how she used to be Black Widow for a millisecond in the Marvel Universe, and she worked very closely with Hawkeye. But they will, because I'm going to put it in my video. But I love spotlighting characters that people don't really remember or did not pay attention to. And it's hard. There's tons that I haven't paid attention to. There's so many. It's like sometimes when people ask me, do you remember this character? And I'm like, even if I know them, I probably don't remember their name. Or they were in it, but there was so much going on in that series that I just don't remember it. Or if I do remember it, I probably don't remember what they were doing in the series. So it's like there's so many characters. There's so many characters. It is absolutely impossible between Image, Vertigo, Dark Horse, IDW, Marvel, DC, and all of these other, literally side independent companies to remember every character that's in a comic book. But what I love about spotlight videos is even stuff that I forgot or things I may not have even known. When you do a spotlight on a character that you've researched, you get involved, and then you see how that character has been connected to all of the other comics that you love. Like, I didn't know this character was in here. I didn't know this character did this. I literally will say that so much in some of these spotlight videos. So I do love that. And I've read a lot. I've been reading comics since I was 5 years old. And like I said, I'll be 44 in December. So that is a long time. So just think about what I have forgotten in comics because of that. A long time. So, yeah. Let's see here. America Chavez got so much hate for her online. Holy administration. But she's a pretty badass character, though. She's got that obnoxious vibe that young characters tend to have. Yeah, but I mean, I hate that they hated on the character for saying that instead of the writer. The writer wrote that. The character didn't. Don't hate the character for saying it. Let's see here. Let me back up. I'm sorry. I definitely missed something. I'm so tired of the Frontline Avengers cast. So am I. And as for the Inuyasha, do you think we will get to see an aged up Shippo and other demons that made friends with the gang? I would love to see what's going on with Shippo. Oh my gosh. I don't want to know if Sango had 30 more kids. Like, where are Sango's kids? She had too many kids for them not to be in this show. I mean, I really want to know. I know. And Koga, what happened with Koga and his wife? Apparently he was married. So what about his kids? I want to know all the things. Let's see here. If anything, I'm just hoping that since we are getting Percy Jackson and Olympians courtesy of Uncle Rick, I'm hoping we will get to see our gay ghost king, son of Hades, Nico D'Angelo. We might. I thought, when is that coming out? Is Percy Jackson in production now, or is that, because I do remember reading that, but I couldn't remember if that was going to be like a Disney Plus thing, or if that was actually going to be a recreated series on another network like HBO Max. I don't know who's doing that, but that would be cool. Okay, I already read the one about America. I stick by that. It's the writer's fault. What about Monica Rambeau, Shar Bishop, Monet, Karma, and Snow Fox? All on my list. All on my list. I loves me some Monica Rambeau. But I try to do them in order. So I actually have an outline of all the characters, and it is really long. I mean, I think I'll be doing this probably till January, honestly. There are a lot of female, obscure minority characters. And I put that out there. I'm not saying that, there aren't other notable characters that are important. these are the ones that I feel should get a little bit more love because they don't get their own backstories, or they don't get, if they do have backstories, they're not as, forefront as some of the other characters in comics. So that's why I am doing it. Like, I have one for Beatrice, or Fire. I remember Fire from, why did that go out of my brain? It went out of my brain. Fire and Ice both went out of my brain for some reason. But she's an obscure, Beatrice is a very obscure character, and it's going to come back into my head in a minute. And I get really, she's DC. And she's actually was on the international team that Booster Gold had, and it just went out of my brain. I'm going to say Justice League International because I'm pretty sure that was the team she was on, but she was on one prior to that, and it just went out of my head. It was her and Ice Maiden, and I'm sorry. That's what age does. But she's a very obscure character. They don't have a lot. Like, I think they were in animated form, I'm pretty sure. But Beatrice or Fire has not, in my opinion, been spotlighted nearly enough. So she is definitely on my list. So yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of them coming. Joanna Carriel. Yes, Joanna is also. And Talisman. Alia Bell. Yep. Didn't Sango and Moroku have like 4 or 5 children? I think they have 20. I mean, it's been some years. I think everybody, you're going to see the series and this entire village will be just their children. I think it's Disney Plus and maybe in production. I don't know. Uncle Rick hasn't given us too much details. Okay. Will you be doing female minority villains as well? Yes, actually, because as I was going down my list, I saw a few that cannot be called superheroes. So yeah, there are some minority female villains that are on my list. I even have one who is half black, half Cambodian, because I wanted to throw a little spice in there. Double whammy. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you will. But yeah, she's an obscure character, but she is half black and half Cambodian. So let's see here. Female minority video game leads would also be interesting as well. That'd be a good spin. I'm open to that. I have to put them on my outline because that outline is long. I have me and my spouse were researching like just from people that I remembered, and then people that I like are so obscure I didn't even remember them. So it's interesting though. Cassandra from Assassin's Creed. I don't think I've played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but I'll look up Cassandra. She got so much hate. I loved her. I swear Fire and Ice should have gotten together in the comics because the tension and seriously Justice Unlimited. I know, but wasn't. So I think Ice Maiden was in love with, who was she in love with? Booster Gold? No, not Booster Gold. Booster Gold is actually supposedly having a thing with Harley. I don't know what's going on in DC now. Because Harley was with Poison Ivy, and she also has a crush on Booster Gold, which is interesting. But I can't remember who Ice Maiden had a crush on. I'm going to have to think about that. And I want to make sure, because I know that was it Ice? So in the comics, Ice Maiden died, and then there was a replacement for her, and I thought her name was Ice. It's something Ice or Snow. I'm gonna have to look this up because I just remember her character being so disturbing to me because there is an issue where they wanted to bring Ice Maiden back, and to get rid of the current girl, they had her kidnapped and had a woman pay to have her skin removed to make her look younger. So she was skinned alive basically, or they took her skin off, they put her to sleep and took her skin off and put it on this woman. And that's how they got rid of this character. And I always thought that was flipping horrible. It's worse than the refrigerator treatment that Kyle Rayner's Rayner's girlfriend got. I just thought that was interesting. There are better ways to get rid of another character than skin her, to give her skin over to a woman who wanted to look younger. Creepy. And I'll always remember that storyline because of that. Guy Gardner, that's who Ice Maiden was in love with. Thank you. I could not think of it. I don't know why, but yeah, it was definitely Guy Gardner. And and Beatrice flirted with with Barry Allen a lot in the animated Justice League series. I never cared much for a cowboy hero, but butting up with a medieval knight until Justice League Unlimited. Yeah, I can see that. It was Ice. So it was Ice. Yes, her name was Tora. Thank you, Nicholas. Tora. That whole storyline messed with my head. It's messed with my head. Like, I think it was even Tora that was flirting with Beatrice, making her feel like, because like Beatrice, when Ice Maiden died, like Beatrice was messed up, and so like very messed up, and so like you know, Tora was flirting with Beatrice, and to a point where it looked like she was coming on to her, and was like, you know, I can, and she even made herself look like, you know, Ice Maiden. It was really weird. It was really, really weird. And so that whole moment, I didn't even take it as queer, but the fact that Beatrice took a long time to resist kind of was really weird to me. So I did think that Fire and Ice actually, if you really think about it, there's a lot of queer baiting there. Now, if you read Deceased, they were living together and like they got turned together. So I don't know. I mean, I can't say they're not. I mean, honestly, because there are a lot of indicators that they are, or they could be very good together. But it's all in DC's world, you know. But I'm going to take a few more questions because we are already at 2:20. We've been having fun, guys. We always have fun in these live streams. So we already talked about the thing with, you know, with Silk being in the Spider-Verse 2. We talked about Roswell's showrunner leaving, our co-showrunner leaving because of, we're just going to say because of, it's either creative differences or basically they're just not getting along. And we talked about the Atomic Blonde sequel potentially going to Netflix because Charlize Theron, when she worked on The Old Guard, apparently they had a very good relationship with her. So they're thinking about making the Atomic Blonde a sequel on Netflix instead of in the theaters, which I'd be okay with. We talked about the new Adam Smasher actor. Francis Lawrence wanting to make a Constantine sequel with Keanu Reeves, which I'm like glad DC said no, because Matt Ryan is really Constantine. I think Constantine is pretending to be Matt Ryan. So he is perfect. I can't see anyone else now as Constantine. And then we talked about an aged Green Arrow joining the Stargirl universe since they showed his picture in episode 9 with, you know, when they were looking at the 7 soldiers of victory along with Shining Knight. So we have talked about a lot today. A lot. Let's see. Yeah, don't get me started. I was interested in more so shipping Vixen and Vigilante since John was problematic in JL Ultimate and the fanfics that I read were so wholesome. Okay. I actually really like that love triangle, but Vixen got the short end of the stick for sure. Oh, yeah. Vixen gets a lot of short ends, even in the CW. So even though I really like Shiera, Vixen was so much a better fit. You think we're going to see Hot Girl on Stargirl? Because I would love to see Shiera. I really would like her to, but I don't know if it would be the same one since I don't know. Quite frankly, it's really hard to tell where the legends fall. Like, what Earth are they? Because they're not really. They're in between Earths. So I guess technically speaking, yes. 100%. She could be incorporated if the actress wanted to come back, but they may do their own thing. Because remember, if we're talking, it is really hot in here now. If we're talking about like for instance, if we're going by the current JSA juniors who are actually in Infinity Inc., they were older when they got their powers. So they actually were around with some of the JSA members that are supposedly their predecessors. So they could do whatever they want. They can make a young hot girl. They can make an older hot girl that had a relation to the JSA. They can do whatever. That's the beautiful thing about the CW doing their own universe and their own Earth. It's completely different than canon comics. There's some things that are similar, but there are a lot that basically is not. So, like, Icicle is a villain, but he is not as big as he is in Stargirl. So, and that's what I said. CW takes, like, lesser-known characters and builds them up and puts them in A roles. So, instead of them being B and C characters or B and C, like, villains and heroes, they are the shiz pretty much. So who knows? It's possible. It's absolutely possible. She also had really great action movements. I like her fight with Wonder Woman. I don't even know if they're gonna mention, like, it's weird that they haven't mentioned Superman or anybody in that world yet. That's interesting. No, they haven't done. I don't think they mentioned or they didn't allude to having Batman or Wonder Woman or anyone in that on that Earth. Just the JSA, which nobody remembers for some reason, but yet you can like go on Wikipedia and look up their powers and stuff, which is how Wildcat was trained. It's very interesting. Like Grundy, you remember Bird Nose. You remember me, Bird Nose. Okay, you lost me with that comment. Hot Girl is currently a POC in the comics, right? I never followed her in the comics, just in the show. I'm pretty sure she's not a redhead in the comics. It depends on who draws her. That's honestly, she's been blonde. She's had short black hair. She's had red hair. But honestly, the same can be said for Lois Lane. Everyone's like, oh, Lois, had reddish hair, reddish brown hair. I'm like, no, she's had black hair, reddish blonde hair. She was never blonde. Like the whole thing with Amy Adams, that was different. She was never that blonde. But as a matter of fact, her sister was blonde, which was the running joke. She always made fun of her because she was the blonde in the family. But she's had a whole spectrum of hair colors and styles: curly hair, short hair, long hair, bob, you name it. So in comics, they just really, unless you have green skin or you have like even with Psylocke, with Betsy dyed her hair purple. I guess Quanon just had purple hair. I don't know if or maybe it just merged purple when they got swapped. I don't know. I don't recall her having dark purple hair as Quanon herself, but I could be wrong. But it's just the hair colors in comics are just so all over the place that I'm just used to it by now. It's like I have no idea. It just really depends on the artist. Vixen was a pleasant joy in JL Unlimited, but I would love to see that Maria Kanell's Barbara reprise her voice role as Hot Girl. Okay. Unless it's a live action, that would be cool. Vixen was super sassy in the animated series. I really liked her, and her fight scenes were fantastic. And the Wonder Woman movie, do you think we are facing Maxwell Lord or Dr. Psycho? Because from the trailer, I'm getting those vibes. Since it's almost set in stone, we are getting Cheetah, and I'm afraid. Oh, we're definitely getting Cheetah. Cheetah for sure. If I was going to guess, I would say maybe Maxwell Lord, because it would make more sense. And who knows? Who knows? We might have more than one, like more than two villains. Honestly, there's a lot going on in that movie, like a lot, and it looks like it's spanning on like I don't know why we're seeing flashes of her time on Themyscira, but I have a feeling it has something to do with the timelines and what's going on now, and the fact that she's more, advanced in this world than some of the other characters, especially one who, quote unquote, should be dead right now. There's a lot going on in this script, and I honestly think that we are probably dealing with a league of people, not just Maxwell. But one certainty is we definitely have Cheetah. 100% we have Cheetah. I wish they would show it though. I wish we would get like a still, like they showed a concept art, but I really want to see like Cheetah in a trailer. Like do a new trailer, show Cheetah in it, and I will go crazy. Because I really am interested to see how this plays out, honestly. Especially with current Wonder Woman. I love Wonder Woman. Love Wonder Woman. Love her. Love her, love her, love her. I think I realized I was queer with her and then Xena, Warrior Princess. I really don't think she should have forgiven Shiera. Having her squash the beef with Shiera was a bad call in writing. Well, we both know there's tons of bad calls in writing. I mean, it's true though. I mean, some of the decisions made in comics are interesting. But let's put it in perspective. Picture Shiera and her in a K-drama. For some reason in K-dramas, you can steal somebody's money, steal their spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, put them in jail. They'll come back and they'll get revenge on you, but then by the end of it, for some reason, you don't go to jail or you're forgiven. Like, I never understood that. Like, especially the older K-dramas, like, I've seen one where a girl will do something horrible to the main character. Horrible, horrible, horrible. By the end of it, they're all best friends. And I'm like, that's Interesting. And I understand that's a lesson in forgiveness, but I mean, there was one drama I was watching where like this woman like literally stole another woman's baby and claimed that it was hers and that the woman's baby had died. And even in the end, after they realized what had happened, because the other woman had raised the kid until it was 3, they let her stay in the baby's life. And everybody was like having a picnic, and I'm like, I'm like, this is very weird. So I've gotten used to seeing writing styles, and then I'm just using Korean drama as a example. I've seen them in other countries and other dramas too. It's just weird writing, weird situations, and we don't know why. It's just strange. But it is now 2:30. It is time for me to go eat now because I'm hungry. And I didn't eat breakfast this morning. But you guys are awesome. Please keep writing comments and stuff below, and I will do my best. I try very hard to answer everyone. We will try and do another stream on Friday. I know we'll have a lot more news. I have a feeling that after Comic-Con, we're going to get a lot of like interesting, tidbits and information on what's going on, and hopefully we'll get something about possibly 2 things I'm very curious about. One is when the Orville is going to be premiering on Hulu. If you have Hulu, you should be excited. And number 2, are we going to get the New Mutants movie released to digital? Because I have a feeling, the clock is counting down. They're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. They've delayed this movie so many times. It's sad, and it's no fault of theirs. But they even got delayed pre-COVID. So I really would like to see, like, what's going to happen that we're going to get that digitally. I think that we're going to get a lot of news starting Monday, probably even Saturday, honestly. So be on the lookout. And again, have a very safe, wear your mask, safe weekend. You guys are very, very awesome. And thank you for hanging out with me. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.